What's up, Tenno? Alex here. TennoCon has come and gone, and with it came a whole new slew of information about the future of Warframe. While a lot of people out there are excited about the upcoming updates, myself included, I'm actually super excited to learn about the upcoming port to the Nintendo Switch. I was even more surprised to learn that the game wouldn't be ported by Digital Extremes, but by the folks at Panic Button. I know some of you out there are thinking, but Alex, Digital Extremes knows Warframe front and back. Who's Panic Button? This video will actually be less about Warframe, but more about what we can expect of the Switch version of the game based on Panic Button's previous work. Panic Button has been known as of late for their fantastic Nintendo Switch ports of Rocket League, Doom, and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Porting these games isn't a small feat. The Nintendo Switch not only has 16 gigabytes of space to work with by default, but the horsepower of the Nintendo Switch is a fraction of what the PS4 and the Xbox One has. That's not to say that the platform is bad by comparison, but I'm merely illustrating that there are very real challenges for making these games play well on this platform. Simply put, it's not just a matter of turning off sliders and changing resolution, but a complete rethinking of how the games work while still maintaining the feel of the original source. Let me show you how Doom runs on a regular PS4 and the Nintendo Switch when it's docked. As you can see, Doom runs at 30 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch. You might also notice the textures are a bit blurry on the Switch version. The game currently takes up 22 gigabytes of space on the Switch, which is minuscule compared to the 79 gigabytes it takes up on the PS4. For the game to even fit that space, models and textures probably needed to be lowered in quality, or some features cut entirely, like the Snap Map, which lets you make maps to play and share with friends. That said, if you play the game in handheld mode, an option that's unique to the Switch, you actually don't notice the difference unless you really scrutinize the visuals. Panic Button nonetheless does a good job of maintaining the original game's feel and as much of the game's original features as possible. My favorite addition to this version of Doom is the optional ability to aim using motion. Now, I know some of you out there don't like that idea at all, and that's okay. But if you've ever played a game of Splatoon 2 using motion to slightly adjust your aim, it eventually becomes an intuitive experience. But it sure takes a bit of getting used to. Let's check out how Panic Button fared with Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
You think you're a hero, William Joseph Blazkowicz? You think you're a hero, William Joseph Blazkowicz?
Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus shows that Panic Button learned a lot from their previous experience. Not only does the game look even closer, albeit still blurry, to the PS4 version of the game, but it certainly feels like they were trying to pull out as many tricks as possible to make the game feel like the original source material. Coming in at also 22 gigabytes of space on the Switch, it is still minuscule compared to the 60 gigabytes it takes up on the PS4. And just like Doom before it features motion aiming to help aim in the game. Just by looking at these two games, we notice something very similar. Given that both games and Warframe run at 60 frames per second on the PS4, it's safe to say that Panic Button will aim for 30 FPS with a Switch version of the game. In fact, it's even represented in the trailer video they showed at TennoCon. The chances of the devs implementing motion aiming is pretty high as well, given their work on these previous titles. I can actually imagine bullet jumping with motion aim, and feeling that it would be just as intuitive as the shooting in other Switch games, so this is something I'm looking forward to trying out. But the caveat here is that while both of Panic Button's previous projects did incidentally clock at 22GB of space each, these are not live games by any stretch of the imagination. The size of live games can increase, and it is possible that 22GB might actually be too small for Warframe. Either way, one thing is definitely sure: you're gonna have to get a high-capacity SDXC card in order to play Warframe. Unless, of course, they miraculously crunch the game's size down to below 16GB, the default space available on the Nintendo Switch for the release version of the game. As of right now, we really don't know how much of the current Warframe experience will be represented at the launch of the Switch port, and given that there's no time frame of when the game's coming out, I don't think we'll be hearing about this news anytime soon. I hope that I've shown you just how capable the folks at Panic Button are. Their work on Doom and Wolfenstein 2 shows that they're constantly adapting and adjusting their workflow so that they can deliver the best possible ports of the original games. I've no doubt that Warframe will feel great on a Nintendo Switch, and I hope this video's made you curious about the other Switch ports Panic Button has done as well. Are you excited about this version of the game? Who's picking it up on day one? Any Warframe fans out there picking up this version? It's free after all. Either way, let me know your thoughts by posting in the comments below. Also, I'll be covering Warframe, Yakuza, Final Fantasy XIV, and RPG and co-op games on my channel, so hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified of my latest videos. Follow me on Twitter as well on my Backlog Battle if you want updates on what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful gaming week.